The transformation of galactic civilization began with a choice that no alien leader had expected. Fleet Admiral Dan Cooper stood before the assembled representatives of every major species in the galaxy, but his message was not one of conquest or revenge. "We could impose our will through force," he began, his words carrying to every inhabited world through technology that transcended normal communication. "Our capabilities make resistance meaningless, and our knowledge makes your current civilization seem primitive. But force creates resentment, and resentment creates conflict." Behind him, holographic displays showed the true extent of human presence throughout the galaxy. Hidden cities that had existed for centuries, research stations built inside stars themselves, and manufacturing facilities that could create entire solar systems from raw energy. "Instead, we offer partnership," Dan continued. "You can remain as you are, governing your own worlds and maintaining your own cultures while benefiting from human guidance and protection." High Commander Vexitol struggled to understand the offer. "You are not demanding our surrender?" "Surrender implies that we consider you enemies," Dr. Alex Morgan replied as she materialized beside Dan. "You are not our enemies. You are potential allies in a project far greater than any of us could accomplish alone." The project she described would have seemed impossible just days earlier. Humanity wanted to reshape the galaxy itself, not through conquest, but through cooperation. They had discovered methods to accelerate stellar evolution, create stable wormhole networks, and even communicate with parallel dimensions. "Your species have developed along paths we did not take during our own evolution," Alex explained. "Your collective knowledge, combined with our capabilities, could accomplish things that neither of us could achieve separately." To demonstrate their sincerity, the humans began sharing their most basic technologies immediately. Dr. Helen Parker appeared at research institutions across the galaxy, offering solutions to problems that had puzzled alien scientists for generations. "This is a medical scanner that can detect and cure any biological malfunction," she explained to a group of Zephyrian doctors. "It works by reading the quantum signature of healthy tissue and restoring damaged cells to their optimal state." The device she presented was small enough to hold in one hand, but its capabilities exceeded anything in alien medicine. Diseases that had plagued species for millennia could be cured with a simple scan. "The technology is yours, too." The true scope of human evolution became clear when Dr. Alex Morgan addressed the emergency session of the Galactic Council. She appeared not as a hologram, but as a physical presence in the chamber, despite being simultaneously present at dozens of other locations throughout the galaxy. "What you are witnessing is not technology in the way you understand it," she explained to the terrified alien leaders. "We have fundamentally altered the relationship between consciousness, matter, and energy. We exist as both individuals and as aspects of a greater collective intelligence." High Commander Vextol struggled to comprehend what he was seeing. "How can you be in multiple places at once? This violates every law of physics." "Your physics are incomplete," Alex replied patiently. "During our long exile, we discovered that consciousness itself is a fundamental force like gravity or electromagnetism. By learning to manipulate that force, we transcended the limitations of single-body existence." The demonstration that followed shattered every assumption the aliens had about reality. Alex reached out and touched the chamber's quantum-encrypted security system. At her contact, the supposedly impenetrable barrier simply dissolved, its component atoms reorganizing themselves into a flowering plant. "Matter obeys consciousness when properly directed," she continued. Your technology works by forcing materials to behave in specific ways. We simply ask matter to cooperate, and it does. Admiral Rick Turner chose that moment to reveal humanity's ultimate capabilities. With a gesture, he caused the entire Nexus Prime defense fleet to reassemble itself into an artistic sculpture that orbited the planet like a metal moon. "Your ships are not damaged," he assured the panicked defense minister. "They have simply been rearranged. Watch." Another gesture restored the fleet to its original configuration, but each ship now bore human modifications that improved their performance beyond alien comprehension. Engines that had been restricted by safety limitations now operated at impossible efficiency levels. "We could have destroyed your civilization at any time during the past 500,000 years," Rick explained. "Instead, we chose to study you, to understand your potential, and to prepare for this moment of integration." The aliens began to realize that every aspect of their society had been shaped by unseen human influence. Trade routes that seemed naturally beneficial had been subtly guided to serve human observation posts. Technological developments had been nudged in directions that made them compatible with human systems. Captain Beth Taylor materialized in the Zephyrian Intelligence Headquarters to reveal the depth of human infiltration. The walls around her became transparent, showing hidden rooms that had existed within the building for centuries. "This facility was constructed according to modified human blueprints," she announced. "Every secure location in your empire contains spaces like these, where our agents have worked for millennia. The hidden chambers contained advanced human technology that had been monitoring alien communications since the facility was built. Every secret the aliens thought they possessed had been shared with human intelligence for generations. Your ancestors believed they achieved victory when they destroyed our visible colonies," Beth continued. "In reality, they eliminated the weakest aspects of human civilization while the strongest elements remained hidden and grew stronger." General Tom Brady appeared at the Zephyrian Military Academy to demonstrate human combat capabilities. He invited their best warriors to attack him with any weapons they chose. The aliens reluctantly complied, firing energy beams that should have vaporized any living being. The weapons passed harmlessly through Tom's body as he shifted between different states of matter. When the aliens tried physical attacks, their strikes encountered resistance that felt like hitting a mountain. "Combat is no longer relevant when one combatant can control the fundamental forces of reality," he explained. "We developed these abilities not to wage war, but to transcend the need for war entirely." Dr. Helen Parker revealed the extent of human scientific advancement by casually solving problems that had puzzled alien researchers for millennia. She demonstrated matter compilers that could create any object from base elements, energy sources that drew power from dimensional variants, and healing technologies that could restore any form of biological damage. "Your species has focused on building tools to solve problems," she observed. "We learn to solve problems directly by understanding the underlying principles that govern reality." The most disturbing revelation came from Agent Chris Miller, who explained how human consciousness could inhabit any sufficiently complex system. As he spoke, his voice emerged from the chamber's communication system, the environmental controls, and even the molecular assemblers in the walls. "We are not limited to biological bodies," his voice echoed from everywhere at once. "Any technology advanced enough to process information can serve as a vessel for human consciousness." The implications terrified the alien leadership. If humans could inhabit their technology, then every computer, every weapon, every system in Their empire was potentially under human control. Commander Jake Thompson materialized in the chamber to address the growing panic. His presence somehow radiated calm authority, and the agitated aliens found their fear subsiding despite their desire to remain afraid. This emotional regulation is another human capability, he explained. We can directly influence the neurochemistry of other species through manipulation of bioelectric fields. However, we use this ability only to prevent unnecessary suffering. The demonstration of human power reached its climax when Fleet Admiral Dan Cooper arrived to show what humanity could accomplish on a galactic scale. The chamber's walls became transparent, revealing a view of space where impossible structures were materializing. "These are human cities," he announced. "Each one can support 10 million inhabitants and can be constructed in a matter of hours." The aliens watched in awe as the structures assembled themselves from nothing, drawing materials from the quantum vacuum and organizing them into beautiful architectural forms that defied conventional engineering. "We have solved the fundamental problems that limit civilization," Dan continued. "Resource scarcity, energy, limitations, population pressure, and territorial conflicts are all issues we transcended millennia ago." The cities demonstrated technologies that seemed magical to alien observers. Buildings that could expand or contract based on need, transportation systems that moved people through spatial folds, and manufacturing centers that could create anything imaginable from pure energy doctor. Maria Santos appeared to explain the philosophical implications of human advancement. "Your species understands power as the ability to force others to submit to your will. We learned that true power comes from transcending the circumstances that create conflict." She gestured, and the chamber filled with images of human civilization during their hidden centuries. Cities of impossible beauty where humans lived in perfect harmony with their environment. Research facilities where the greatest minds in galactic history had worked together to solve fundamental questions about existence itself. "We spent our exile not just developing technology, but evolving beyond the limitations that make technology necessary," Maria explained. "We learned to exist in harmony with the universe rather than in opposition to it." The final demonstration came from Captain Greg White, who showed the aliens what human society had become during the long years of hiding. The chamber transformed into a viewing portal that looked into active human communities. Aliens saw humans who looked both familiar and impossibly advanced. They moved with perfect coordination, communicated without words, and manipulated their environment through pure will. Children played games that involved reshaping reality itself, while adults pursued art and science that transcended anything the aliens could comprehend. "This is what your species could become," Greg offered. "We are not here to rule you as subjects, but to guide you toward your own transcendence." The revelation that humanity had spent 500,000 years not just surviving but evolving into something beyond conventional understanding left the alien leadership speechless. They had imagined many possible scenarios for this first contact, but nothing had prepared them for the reality of what humanity had become. High Commander Vextal finally found his voice. "What do you want from us?" Dr. Alex Morgan's response would define the new relationship between humans and the rest of galactic civilization. "We want you to grow beyond what you are now, just as we were forced to grow beyond what we once were. Your attempted genocide taught us that survival requires evolution. Now we offer you the chance to evolve voluntarily. The age of Zephyrian dominance was over, but the aliens were beginning to understand that what would replace it might be far more wonderful than anything they had ever imagined. The awakening began simultaneously across 300 hidden facilities throughout the galaxy. In massive chambers that had remained sealed for centuries, stasis pods started their revival sequences. Millions of humans who had slept through the long exile were finally returning to consciousness. Dr. Maria Santos monitored the process from her command station in the primary facility. Her enhanced neural implants processed data from every awakening site, ensuring that each human emerged safely from their extended hibernation. The technology that preserved them had improved constantly over the millennia, and she was proud to report 0 revival failures. Sector 7 awakening complete, her assistant reported. All subjects showing optimal biological signs. Excellent, Maria replied. Begin the orientation protocols. The humans emerging from stasis were not the same species that had gone to sleep 500,000 years ago. Genetic modifications had enhanced their strength, speed, and intelligence far beyond baseline human levels. Cybernetic implants connected them to a shared information network that allowed perfect coordination across vast distances, Captain Ryan. Foster stood on the bridge of the first human dreadnought to reveal itself to alien sensors. The ship itself was a testament to human advancement, constructed from materials that could reshape themselves at the molecular level. Its weapons could rewrite the fundamental forces that held matter together. All fleet elements report ready. His tactical officer announced, "Begin Phase 1 of the reclamation," Ryan ordered. Human ships began appearing throughout Zephyrian space, but not through conventional faster-than-light travel. They emerged from dimensional folds that allowed them to step between parallel realities. To alien observers, it seemed as if the vessels were materializing from nothingness. The Zephyrian response was swift but futile. Battle fleets that had dominated the galaxy for centuries found themselves facing technology they could not comprehend. Human ships absorbed energy weapon hits and converted them into additional power. Kinetic weapons passed harmlessly through hulls that became temporarily intangible. On the fortress world of Kepler Station, General Tom Brady led the first ground operation in human military history that involved no actual combat. His soldiers simply walked through solid walls using phase shift technology, appearing inside the alien command center without triggering a single alarm. "Surrender your facility," he announced to the shocked Zephyrian commander. "This is impossible," the alien sputtered. "Our shields are impenetrable." Tom gestured to his soldiers who were standing calmly inside what should have been a secure chamber. "Your shields are designed to stop conventional matter and energy. We stopped being conventional 500,000 years ago." The fortress surrender was completed without a single shot being fired. The human soldiers had not destroyed anything or harmed anyone. They had simply demonstrated that Zephyrian defenses were meaningless against their capabilities. Similar scenes played out across dozens of worlds as humanity revealed the true scope of their advancement. Dr. Helen Parker, who had spent 3 centuries disguised as a Zephyrian researcher, finally shed her alien appearance and announced herself to her former colleagues. "I have been studying your species for longer than your civilization has existed," she told the stunned research team. "Every breakthrough you achieved, every weapon you developed, every defensive system you built, I was there, documenting your progress and reporting to my people." The revelation that humans had been living among them for millennia sent shockwaves through alien society. How many other humans were hidden in their midst? Which of their trusted allies were actually enemy agents? Agent Chris Miller had served as a diplomatic aide in the Zephyrian government for over a century. His biological modifications had made him indistinguishable from the aliens he worked alongside. When he finally revealed his true identity, the political implications were staggering. "I have been present at every major strategic meeting for the past 100 years, he announced to the emergency session of the Galactic Council. Your military plans, your resource allocations, your technological developments, we have known about all of it in advance." High Commander Vextal stared at the human who had served as his trusted advisor for decades. "Chris, you are one of them?" "My real name is Christopher Miller, and yes, I am human," Chris replied calmly. "I have been documenting your species' weaknesses while you believed you were making strategic decisions. Every plan you made was adjusted to serve human interests. The scope of the deception was beyond anything the aliens could have imagined. Humans had not simply survived in hiding, they had actively shaped alien development to serve their own purposes. Commander Kate Stone led the assault on the Zephyrian Naval Academy, but the word assault did not accurately describe what happened. Her forces simply appeared inside the facility and announced that classes would continue under human supervision. "Your training methods are adequate but limited," she informed the alien cadets. "You will learn to use technology properly under human guidance." The alien instructors found their own equipment turning against them. Teaching computers began displaying human military doctrine instead of Zephyrian tactics. Training simulators showed scenarios where human forces demonstrated superior strategy and technology. Colonel Steve Johnson took control of the Nexus Prime defense grid without triggering any alarms or resistance. The massive weapons array that protected the alien capital simply accepted his commands as if he were an authorized user. "Your security systems were designed by people who never understood true cybersecurity," he explained to the terrified defense minister. "We have been able to access any computer system in your empire for the past 50,000 years. The revelation sent panic through the alien leadership. If humans could control their weapons, their communications, and their transportation systems, then resistance was truly impossible. But perhaps the most shocking demonstration came from Dr. Amy Rodriguez herself, the architect of Project Deep. Sleep appeared simultaneously at every major alien military installation across the galaxy, not as a hologram or transmission, but as a physical presence. "This is quantum consciousness projection," she explained to the assembled alien commanders. "My awareness can exist in multiple locations simultaneously. This is what 500,000 years of human development can achieve." The aliens watched in horror as she manipulated their most advanced technology with casual ease. Weapons that required teams of specialists to operate responded to her thoughts alone. Computer systems that contained their most sensitive secrets opened themselves to her inspection. "You should understand that we are no longer bound by the limitations of single-body existence," Amy continued. "A human consciousness can inhabit any compatible technology or even exist as pure information. Death, as you understand it, has become an inconvenience rather than an ending." Fleet Admiral Dan Cooper appeared on every screen throughout Zephyrian space to deliver humanity's ultimatum. His presence was somehow both commanding and reassuring, suggesting that humans were not interested in unnecessary destruction. "We have demonstrated our capabilities," he announced. "Your weapons cannot harm us. Your defenses cannot stop us. and your technology serves us better than it serves you. However, we are not here for revenge. The statement surprised many aliens who had expected humanity to seek vengeance for their attempted genocide. We learned long ago that destruction is waste, Dan continued. You have built a stable civilization during our absence, and we see no reason to dismantle what works. However, that civilization will now operate under human guidance. The terms he offered were simple but non-negotiable. Alien governments could continue to exist as long as they acknowledged human authority. Military forces would be restructured under human command. Scientific research would be directed toward goals that benefited the entire galaxy. You have two choices, Dan concluded. Accept our leadership and benefit from our knowledge, or resist and discover that your entire technological civilization exists only because we allow it. To emphasize the point, every alien starship in the galaxy simultaneously found their engines shutting down, not damaged or destroyed, simply turned off by remote command. After a few tense minutes, the engines restarted. But the message was clear. Colonel Janet Pierce demonstrated the final proof of human supremacy at the Zephyrian Weapons Research Facility. She walked through their most secure laboratory, examining their latest experimental technologies with obvious amusement. These particle beam weapons are based on principles we mastered 200,000 years ago, she observed. Your quantum computers operate on theories we discarded as obsolete 300 millennia past. She activated her personal toolkit and began modifying their most advanced weapon system. In minutes, she had improved its power output by a factor of 10 while reducing its size by half. This is what your technology could become with proper guidance, she told the amazed alien scientists. We are offering to share knowledge that will advance your civilization by millions of years. The demonstration was repeated at research facilities throughout alien space. Humans casually solved problems that had puzzled alien scientists for centuries. They revealed technologies so advanced that they seemed. The emergency meeting in the Zephyrian Command Center lasted through the night. Admiral Corex stared at the holographic displays showing signal locations across dozens of star systems. Each red dot represented a transmission source that should not exist. How many total? He asked his chief scientist. 47 confirmed sources and counting, Dr. Zelen replied. The signals are growing stronger each hour. They appear to be some kind of activation sequence. Admiral Corex rubbed his forehead with one of his 4 hands. In his 300 years of service, he had never encountered anything like this. The mathematical patterns matched ancient human codes, but humans had been extinct for 500,000 years. Could it be some kind of automated system? He wondered aloud. Maybe old human technology that finally broke down. Dr. Zelen shook his head. The signals are too complex and coordinated. This requires active intelligence behind it. Someone or something is deliberately sending these transmissions. 3. Investigation. Fleets had already been dispatched to the nearest signal sources. Their reports would arrive within hours, and Admiral Corex hoped they would provide answers instead of more questions. Meanwhile, in a hidden asteroid base in the Kepler system, Commander Jake Thompson made final preparations for first contact. His facility had been operational for over 300,000 years, completely invisible to alien detection systems. The massive hollow asteroid contained everything needed to support a human population: atmosphere processors, hydroponic, farms, manufacturing centers, and most importantly, the advanced technology that would shock the galaxy. Jake stood before a communication array that could broadcast across the entire galactic network. His message had been carefully crafted by the Human Preservation Initiative's best strategists. It needed to be shocking enough to get attention, but controlled enough to prevent immediate panic. "All stations report ready," his communications officer announced. "Begin transmission," Jake ordered. Across the galaxy, every alien monitoring station suddenly received the same signal. It overrode their security systems and appeared on every screen simultaneously. The image that appeared showed a human male in a crisp military uniform standing before a backdrop of advanced technology. "Greetings to the current inhabitants of this galaxy," Jake began. "My name is Commander Jake Thompson, representing the Human Preservation Initiative. I know this transmission comes as a shock, as your history books claim our species was eliminated 500,000 years ago. That claim is incorrect." On Nexus Prime, High Commander Vextal nearly fell from his chair as he watched the impossible broadcast. Around him, his staff stood frozen in disbelief. Humans were supposed to be extinct. This had to be some kind of elaborate hoax. Jake continued his message with calm authority. "The reports of humanity's extinction were carefully fabricated. While your ancestors believed they had achieved victory, they had only succeeded in destroying our most visible colonies. The true human population was already safely hidden in locations your technology cannot detect." The broadcast showed brief images of massive underground cities, asteroid bases, and structures built inside nebulae. Each facility bustled with human activity, proving that their species had not only survived, but thrived in secret. "We have spent the last 500,000 years in careful preparation. We have watched your civilizations grow and develop while we advanced far beyond what any of you can imagine. We have been patient, but that patience is now at an end." Admiral Corex received the first reports from his investigation fleets. The news was impossible to believe. Scanner readings showed massive artificial structures in locations that had appeared empty for centuries. The objects were clearly technological, but used principles that Zephyrian science could not explain. "How did we miss them?" he demanded. "They appear to be using some form of selective invisibility," his science officer reported. "Our sensors can detect them now, but only because they are allowing us to see them. The technology involved is beyond our current understanding." The human broadcast continued as Jake introduced other key figures in the resistance. Dr. Amy Rodriguez appeared on screen, explaining how humanity had developed the technology to hide entire populations in stasis while continuing research and development. "Project Deep Sleep was conceived by our greatest minds," she said. "Admiral Ben Clark and I realized that fighting your invasion directly would lead to our extinction. Instead, we chose to vanish completely and use the time to evolve beyond your ability to threaten us." The images showed vast stasis facilities where millions of humans slept in perfect preservation. Advanced medical technology kept their bodies in perfect condition, while their minds remained active in virtual reality environments where they could continue learning and growing. "We did not waste our time in hiding," Dr. Rodriguez continued. "Every decade brought new advances in science, technology, and human enhancement. We have become something far greater than the species your ancestors fought." On the mining world of Titan 7th, alien workers gathered around communication screens to watch the impossible broadcast. They had grown up hearing stories about the extinct humans, and now those same humans were speaking to them from beyond the grave. Jake reappeared on screen to deliver the most shocking revelation of all. "You should know that we have not been entirely absent from your society. For millennia, enhanced humans have walked among you, studying your weaknesses and gathering intelligence. The transmission showed images of humans who had surgically altered themselves to resemble various alien species. They had infiltrated governments, military organizations, and research institutions across the galaxy. The scope of the deception was staggering. We know your fleet positions, your technology capabilities, and your strategic plans. We understand your political structures better than you do. We have been preparing for this moment since before your current governments existed. Fleet Captain Nina Brooks appeared next, her stern expression making it clear that humanity's return would not be peaceful. Behind her, the first visible human. Warships in 500,000 years prepared to leave their hidden bases. We are not the primitive species your ancestors defeated, she declared. We have transcended the limitations that once held us back. Our technology, our capabilities, and our very nature have evolved beyond your comprehension. The first human ship to reveal itself appeared near the Zephyrian border world of Kalos. Local defense forces scrambled to intercept what they assumed was a lost relic from the ancient war. They quickly discovered their mistake. The ship was unlike anything in their historical records. Its hull seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal, and energy readings suggested power sources that defied known physics. When the Zephyrian patrol ships moved to investigate, the human vessel simply vanished and reappeared behind them, Captain. Ryan Foster's voice came across all communication channels. This is Captain Foster of the Human Reclamation Fleet. We are not here to negotiate. We are here to reclaim what was stolen from us. The Zephyrian patrol ships found their weapons systems shutting down without explanation. Their engines stopped, responding to commands, and their communication arrays began broadcasting human messages instead of their own signals. In less than 10 minutes, an entire squadron of advanced alien warships had been rendered helpless by a single human vessel. Admiral Corex watched the reports streaming in from across the galaxy. Human ships were appearing everywhere, demonstrating technology that made his most advanced vessels look like toys. They were not attacking directly, but their message was clear. Resistance would be futile. Jake Thompson concluded the galactic broadcast with words that would haunt alien nightmares for generations to come. For 500,000 years you have lived in a galaxy that you believed was yours. You built your civilization on the bones of ours, thinking yourselves safe from retribution. His expression hardened as he delivered the final warning. That time is over. Humanity has returned, and we are no longer the species you remember. We have become something far more dangerous than your ancestors ever imagined. The galaxy you thought you inherited was never truly yours. The transmission ended, leaving trillions of alien beings to contemplate the impossible truth. Humanity had not only survived their attempted genocide, but had spent the intervening centuries becoming something beyond their worst fears. In the depths of space, hidden human facilities continued their awakening sequence. The long sleep was ending, and the galaxy was about to discover what 500,000 years of human evolution could accomplish. The human defense fleet emerged from hyperspace like avenging angels, their weapons already charging as they moved to intercept the Void Hunter invasion force. Admiral Rick Hayes watched the tactical display with grim satisfaction as his ships took their positions around the dying capital world of Nexus Prime. All ships, this is Hayes, he broadcast across the fleet channels. Execute Alpha Protocol. Target the lead dreadnoughts first, then work your way down to the smaller craft. Remember, these machines adapt quickly, so rotate your weapon frequencies every 30 seconds. The human ships opened fire with weapons unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Cascading energy beams that shifted through multiple spectrum frequencies struck the Void Hunter dreadnoughts with devastating effect. The mechanical ships that had seemed unstoppable moments before began to buckle under the coordinated human assault. Captain Jake Morrison piloted his new command ship, the Retribution, through the swirling battle with practiced ease. His vessel was twice the size of the old Resilience and armed with countermeasures specifically designed to combat robotic enemies. Every system had been built with redundancy and over-engineering that other species had once mocked as paranoid excess. "Their adaptive shielding is trying to compensate," reported his weapons officer, Lieutenant Amy Foster, niece of the famous botanist. "But our frequency rotation is staying ahead of their adaptation cycles." Jake smiled grimly as he watched another Void Hunter ship explode in brilliant fire. "That's what happens when you have a year to prepare for an enemy you've been studying for decades." The humans had not been idle during their exile. While galactic civilization collapsed due to technological failures, humanity had been building the most advanced military force in known space. They had taken their knowledge of Void Hunter capabilities and developed specific countermeasures for every tactic the mechanical invaders might use. On the surface of Nexus Prime, Chancellor Vexitar watched the battle through his bunker's observation deck with a mixture of hope and shame. The human ships moved with coordination and precision that made the previous galactic defense efforts look like amateur theater. Every shot was calculated. Every maneuver served a strategic purpose. The human fleet is breaking through the void. "Hunter formations," reported General Krixtar. "Their weapons appear to be specifically designed to counter robotic adaptive systems." Vextar nodded slowly, remembering the human warnings about adaptive enemy technology that had been dismissed. "Years ago, of course they were," he said quietly. "They've been preparing for this war while we were celebrating their departure." The battle raged for hours, but the outcome was never really in doubt. The Void Hunters had adapted their tactics to defeat, the standard galactic military doctrine, but they had no response to the human innovations. Variable frequency weapons, quantum disruption fields, and self-replicating defensive systems tore through the mechanical invasion force with ruthless efficiency. Dr. Cathara monitored the engagement from her laboratory, analyzing the human weapon signatures with scientific fascination. "They're using technologies that are at least 50 years ahead of anything we had in the archives," she transmitted to the emergency channels. "These aren't the same ships that left a year ago." She was right. The human vessels were products of concentrated innovation driven by survival necessity. Freed from the bureaucratic limitations of galactic oversight, human engineers and scientists had pushed their capabilities to new levels. They had built weapons that could think, shields that could learn, and ships that could repair themselves in the middle of combat. Captain Ben Torres commanded the evacuation effort, coordinating the rescue of millions of alien civilians from worlds in the path of the Void Hunter advance. His ship, the New Dawn, had been converted into a massive hospital and refugee transport, complete with medical facilities designed to treat every known alien physiology. "We've got incoming wounded from the Zalani border worlds," reported his medical officer, Dr. Claire Patterson, who had traded diplomacy for emergency medicine. "Multiple species, severe injuries from Void Hunter energy weapons." "Take them all?" Ben replied without hesitation. "We've got the space and the supplies." The aliens being brought aboard his ship looked at their human rescuers with confusion and gratitude. These were the same people they had voted to exile, the species they had deemed too dangerous for civilized space. Now, those dangerous humans were risking their lives to save alien refugees from an enemy the aliens couldn't defeat. The final phase of the battle came when Admiral Hayes led a concentrated assault on the Void Hunter command ship, a massive vessel that dwarfed even the largest human dreadnoughts. The mechanical intelligence controlling the invasion had made the mistake of centralizing its operations, creating a single point of failure that human tactical doctrine was designed to exploit. All ships, concentrate fire on the command vessels. Central core, Hayes ordered. Quantum disruption torpedoes full spread. The human weapons struck with devastating precision, and the Void Hunter command ship began to break apart in a cascade of explosions. As the central intelligence died, the remaining robotic ships lost their coordination and became easy targets for the human fleet. In the aftermath of the victory, Chancellor Vexus Tar stood in the ruins of his council chambers, facing Admiral Hayes, across the scarred table where humanity's exile had been decided. The human officer looked older and harder than Vextar remembered, shaped by a year of preparation for this moment. "Admiral," Vextar began, but Hayes raised a hand to stop him. "Before you say anything, Chancellor, let me explain something," Hayes said quietly. "We didn't come back to save you. We came back to stop the Void Hunters before they could spread beyond this galaxy and threaten human space." The words were like a physical blow. Vextar had prepared speeches of gratitude and apologies, but he could see that such gestures would be meaningless. "However," Hayes continued, "we're not going to leave you to die in the wreckage of your civilization. That wouldn't be the human way." Over the following weeks, human ships arrived at dozens of devastated worlds, bringing medical supplies, technical expertise, and emergency aid. Dr. Lisa Grant returned to her research with alien colleagues who now understood the value of her cross-species medicine. Engineer Pete Collins worked around the clock to restore climate control systems and agricultural facilities. But the relationship had fundamentally changed. The humans were no longer junior partners in galactic civilization, seeking approval and acceptance. They had become the senior species, offering membership in a new confederation to aliens who proved they could contribute as equals. Captain Torres explained the new reality to a group of alien refugees aboard his ship. "We're not going back to the old system," he said simply. "The Galactic Council made its choice when it voted to exile us. Now we're building something better. The aliens who joined the Human Confederation found themselves part of a society that valued preparation, innovation, and mutual defense above political correctness and cultural sensitivity. It was a harder way of life than they had known, but it was also more honest about the dangers that existed in a hostile universe." Dr. Kethara was among the first alien scientists to join the new human research facilities, working alongside colleagues who shared her commitment to advancing knowledge and solving problems. "They never stopped thinking about the threats we might face," she explained to other aliens considering joining. "While we were celebrating peace, they were preparing for war." The galaxy that emerged from the Void Hunter crisis was very different from the one that had existed before. Human leadership brought military discipline, technological innovation, and strategic thinking that had been lacking in the old council system. But it also brought a recognition that survival required vigilance and sacrifice. Admiral Hayes stood on the observation deck of his flagship, looking out at the mixed fleet of human and alien vessels that now patrolled the galactic rim. The ships were built to human specifications, crewed by mixed-species teams, and commanded by officers who understood that the universe was full of dangers that required constant preparation. "They wanted safety from us," he said to his aide, reflecting on the events that had brought them to this point. "Instead, They got safety from everything else, including survival itself. The old Galactic Council was gone, replaced by a confederation that understood the price of peace was eternal vigilance. The species that had once dismissed humanity as too aggressive and unpredictable now depended on those very qualities for their continued existence. Humanity had returned to the galaxy not as the exiled troublemakers they had been branded, but as the indispensable guardians they had always been. The universe was still dangerous, but now there was a species prepared to face those dangers head-on, backed by allies who finally understood what it meant to be truly civilized in an uncivilized cosmos.